Hello and welcome or welcome back. If you are new here, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back and thank you for joining me today. So here today we are going to explore the energies of April for each sign. So here's a really powerful month. We've got a full moon in Libra that connects to the solar eclipse that took place back in October 2023. So a really, really powerful full moon because also on the same day, Venus, the ruler of this full moon, will station direct. So a major turn of events. Now both Venus and Mercury will station direct. So here we've got a massive forward momentum in the first 2 weeks of the month towards, it's like a build up towards the full moon in Libra. There is also a fixed earthy new moon at the end of the month. So lots of fresh and different energies. So let's see how these events will influence your rising sign on a deeper level. You can also watch for your moon sign or your sun sign if you wish just to get a bigger picture and a wider perspective upon your life. Thank you very much, and let's begin. Hello, Aries, and welcome to your monthly horoscope for April 2025. So here, as we begin this brand new month, we've got this major forward momentum taking place because Mercury will station direct in Pisces on April the 7th at 26 degrees. So here, Mercury in Pisces is not very strong. It's both in its detriment and fall. However, since we are moving from a retrograde to the direct motion, this is like waking up from a long sleep. So it will take some time for Mercury to regain its full strength. However, you will start to regain the clarity that you may have lacked during the retrograde phase of Mercury. However, take your time in these initial weeks of April before making some major significant decisions, choices, especially following the eclipse in Aries that would have taken place on the 29th of March. But at the same time, it takes some time and also give it some time overall. Allow space, allow time, allow room for deeper insights to unfold here in these initial days, weeks of February, because your subconscious mind will be very active, and you might have some really interesting insights coming out of the blue through your dreams, through your thoughts. Also, there could be lots of synchronicities or perhaps messages coming or ideas coming through books or perhaps a song that you will hear on the radio, for example. But at the same time, this is also a time when some unresolved matters from the past will become much clearer and easier to deal with. So here, while Mercury stationing direct will help you to clear up any emotional confusion you may have experienced throughout March, avoid rushing into action just yet. Give it some time. Overall, reflect before making major decisions. Now, here we've got a full moon happening on the 13th, and this full moon is happening in Libra at 23 degrees. Now, Libra is a cardinal sign, and generally cardinal energy is action-oriented. Cardinal signs begin each and every season. And Libra is an earth sign as well, connected to justice, fairness, relationships. So this is activating your seventh house. Now, as an interesting fact, this full moon connects to a much larger story because this full moon connects to the new moon solar eclipse that took place in October 2023. So see what started during that time, what new beginnings occurred in your area of one-to-one connections, one-to-one relationships, contracts, agreements, because overall, here during this time, this could be a turning point during this full moon, whether in your relationships, partnerships, contracts, you will know best. But since Mars is still in Cancer at this point, the sign that squares Libra, be mindful of any impulsive decisions at this time, because here that Martian influence may generally cause confrontations, or perhaps generally it might be um, there could be this impatient energy in the air. But here, this is also a time overall for making necessary adjustments. So, an opportunity for making kind of necessary adjustments in your relationships, because this full moon will highlight any imbalance in your connections, in your relationships. And at the same time, you might have some really strong realizations about a certain connection in your life, whether romantic, business, or personal. And if the dynamic between yourself and the other person feels out of balance, then now will be the ideal time to recalibrate. But be mindful of impulsiveness here, because here with Mars influence, you might be more reactive, more impulsive than usual. So here, compromise will be key. But interestingly, also on the same day, Venus, the ruler of Libra, will station direct in Pisces at 24 degrees. So here, finally, after weeks of the retrograde motion, Venus will finally station direct. So this is a really important full moon, because first of all, it connects to the solar eclipse in Libra that initiated this cycle. But at the same time, Venus, the ruler of this full moon, will change direction on the day of this full moon. So clearly, there's a change of dynamic, a change of direction, possibly. And Venus is very happy in Pisces. It is exalted, in fact, and it can have a very positive influence upon your relationship, on healing energy as well. But this is happening in your 12th house, and here healing is definitely encouraged, and this energy can really help you to move away, let go from any negative energies, limiting thoughts, beliefs, situations. And if you've been struggling with some past wounds, or perhaps some hidden feelings, even feelings of in the inadequacy, for example, of or perhaps low self-worth, then this shift offers this amazing opportunity to let go and find peace, find the inner peace. And this is also a good time for being creative, for engaging in creative activities as well, or anything to do with spirituality, self growth, self development. Now, as we move forward on the 16th, Mercury will station, um, the Mercury will move into Aries, into your first house of the self. So, this is a very good news, because when Mercury, even though Mercury in Aries is still not the happiest, because it lacks essential dignity, it is heavily influenced by your ruler Mars. But it is in the first house, so it's in the house, angular house, as we say in traditional astrology, which gives Mercury a lot of strength. Actually, the fact that it is in the first house, it gives Mercury strength, even though Aries is not the best placement for Mercury. But this shift overall brings a really sharp, direct, assertive style of communication. But at the same time, this is energy that is very straightforward, very direct, and maybe even impulsive at times as well. So here, Mercury in Aries is so-called peregrine, which means that it lacks stability. So for this reason, you'll have to be cautious during this time, especially when making quick decisions, or perhaps when engaging in some difficult, challenging, heated discussions in the second part of April. But here overall, Mercury can make you more outspoken and more mentally energized, even. And while this can give you an edge, especially here in debates, in negotiations, for example, at the same time, you have to be mindful of speaking too hastily or perhaps coming across as too forceful. Here, think before acting because this will save you unnecessary stress. Now, Mars, your ruler, will move into a Leo on April the 18th. So, this is fantastic news because Mars in Cancer was very unhappy. And here with Mars in Leo, we've got a very, very different energy because Mars in Leo is courageous and charismatic. Because here, Leo is a fire sign, same as Aries. So, this is a very positive placement for Leo. So here, this is happening in your fifth house. So creativity, romance, pleasure, and this energy can bring a lot of passionate energy into your life, into your love life, into your artistic, creative life as well. And you might feel this really strong urge to take bold risks in the romantic side of your life, for example, or perhaps this could be about engaging or embarking on some creative projects, hobbies, interests, for example. But whatever the scenario, you have to be careful of making any impulsive decisions. Because at the same time, Mercury will be in your first house in Aries as well. So here again, this is about being grounded, but at the same time, think before acting, especially if you feel impatient about a specific idea and goal. Think it through. All right, so Venus will meet with Saturn on April the 25th at 27 degrees of Pisces in your 12th house. So here we've got this conjunction, so a brand new cycle between Venus and Saturn. And conjunctions are about new beginnings, something fresh and new. And here, Saturn is connected to discipline, commitment, structure. And here, this conjunction generally blends a need, a desire for connection, but at the same time with the need for stability, responsibility, and boundaries as well. So here with that 12th house influence, this could manifest as perhaps some karmic fated connections, or perhaps some karmic lessons in the area of love, or perhaps a need for emotional security, safety, for example, as well. So generally, at the same time here with the 12th house influence, if you have been ignoring some emotional wounds, insecurities, limitations, then this conjunction is amazing for healing and for introspection. Now, on the 27th, on the other hand, we've got a new moon in Taurus happening at 7 degrees. So here, 7 degrees of Taurus. And this is a really interesting new moon because, of course, the moon is exalted in Taurus, and Venus, the ruler of Taurus, is still in Pisces at the time of this new moon, the sign of its exaltation. So, really positive energies and vibes in here. And overall, here with the Taurian energy, this is about stability, financial security, safety, but also personal comfort that Taurian energy is connected to, enjoying the simple pleasures of life. Taurus energy favors nourishment, growth, material stability, and this is happening in your area of self-sufficiency, finances as well. So it's an amazing time for setting some financial goals, for investing wisely. But at the same time, during this time, you might be working on increasing, improving, boosting your income situation. So here, under the influence of Taurus, which is a fixed earth sign, this is about a slow but steady progress. Because here, generally with the fixed energy, this is about long-term rewards and stability. Now we end the month with Venus moving into Aries, and that's on April the 30th. Aries, here we've got your first house. So this here Venus is in its detriment in the sign of Aries. So what this means is that Venus in Aries overall might struggle to express its natural qualities of diplomacy, of grace, because the Venus in Aries is very passionate, but at the same time, it can be impulsive and it favors direct action over patience and compromise here. So, the way that can play out in your life here, what you will have to overall be careful, or perhaps to just be aware of, is impatience, especially when it comes to dealing with others, relate your relationships as well. But at the same time, with Venus in your first house, because the first house is an angular house, as I told you earlier, which gives a lot of strength to any planet traveling through this house. So, with Venus in your first house, overall, Venus boosts your confidence. And generally, this is a very positive energy to have in your first house, even though I know that I said Aries is not the best placement for Venus, but here the first house um, influence definitely gives Venus a lot of credit, so to speak. But this generally will you will see that you will generally people will give you more attention than usual because this is an excellent time overall for attracting attention in love and social matters. You might feel more noticeable. And this could be about being recognized, having receiving good feedback, for example. You might want to or have a greater need to pamper yourself as well, to change something in your look, for example, as well. All right, so that's a little bit about Venus. It's only happening at the very, very end of the month. So probably only begin to feel this energy in May. But thank you very much, Aries. Have a great month, and let's move into the next sign. Hello, Taurus, and welcome to your April 2025 monthly horoscope. We start the month with Mercury, the planet of communication, intellect, and travel, short distance travel, stationing direct at 26 degrees of Pisces on the 7th of April. So, here, while this shift of energy brings some relief, especially from recent confusion delays connected to your friendship circle, connected to certain connections in your life, connected to your long-term plans and goals. Generally, you will see that your intuition will be much stronger, but at the same time, bear in mind that Mercury is not the strongest in Pisces. This is the sign of its detriment and fall. So here, this is not the strongest placement here, of course, but since we've got this change of direction from the retrograde motion to the direct motion, this indicates that a shift of energy, perhaps a change of direction, change of idea when it comes to your friendships, when it comes to your long-term goals and plans, or perhaps anything to do with your income situation, financial goals, for example, friendships, group dynamics that felt uncertain in their recent weeks. They will begin to make more sense, or anything that occurred during that time in your social circle overall. But at the same time, if communications have occurred, then now will be an amazing time for reconnection, for a deeper understanding as well of what truly happened and what direction to take moving forward. But trust your instinct, especially when it comes to your long term vision, when it comes to your social situations, but wait a couple of weeks before making any major commitments, decisions. Now, the full moon in Libra happening on April the 13th at 23 degrees is connected to a solar eclipse in Libra that took place in October 2023. This is a very, very interesting full moon because, first of all, it connects to a solar eclipse. So clearly, this could be a turning point in your connections, in your relationships, for example. But at the same time, as per that Libra energy, of course, but at the same time, you'll have to be mindful of making any impulsive, sudden decisions because Mars is going to square this full moon. Mars is in Cancer, the sign of its fall. And this can generally just create unnecessary stress. But at the same time, your daily life is very much highlighted because that's where this full moon is happening. Your daily reality, your work environment, your health wellness as well. So if you have been neglecting your own body, your own physical body, self-care, perhaps if you've been feeling overwhelmed due to what's happening in your daily life at your work, then this full moon will prompt you to restore the well-needed balance. Any imbalance will become very visible and noticeable at this time. So here at the same time, any tension at work may arise, especially since a full moon is a peak, is connected to a peak of a situation that has been building up. Here you will have a full understanding of what is actually going on, and you might feel like enough is enough. And especially if fairness, justice, equality has been an issue. Now, try to avoid overcommitting during this time because it can drain you, it can drain your energies. But at the same time, this full moon is reminding you about setting or the need to set healthy boundaries in your everyday life at your work. Now, the ruler of this full moon is Venus, of course. Libra rules Venus, and Venus is going to station direct on this day in Pisces at 24 degrees. So is it there is a change of situation, change of direction as well. And Venus is exalted, strong in Pisces. So its influence can be very beneficial for you, for your life, for whatever that will be going on at this time. But Venus will be in Pisces at this time, changing direction in your area of friendships and social connection. So Venus can give you a little boost into your social circle. And perhaps if there have been any misunderstandings or delays in group activities, for example, teamwork, anything to do with networking or the need to reach some goals, milestones, then things will begin to smooth out following this full moon. It's a great time also to reconnect with people that align with your evolving self, like-minded people who share similar values. Now, Mercury will change signs, move into Aries, into your 12th house, and that's on the 16th. Now, Mercury in Aries is peregrine, so this means that it doesn't have any essential dignity, and it's a little bit lost in the sign of Aries. Now, this shift brings a direct, assertive communication style, but also the need to take risks. And here we will have to be probably cautious or generally mindful when making quick, sharp decisions. For example, that's your 12th house as well. So lots of introspective energy, of course. And this also brings this could make you feel more restless or your mind more restless. So you might enjoy crosswords, reading, engaging in activities that can fulfill your overly stimulated mind. But at the same time, watch out for any negative self-talk, tendencies towards negative self-talk, or perhaps self-sabotaging thoughts, and try to avoid making any rushed, impulsive decisions behind the scenes. What you also might find beneficial is journaling, meditation, for example, and this can generally help you to deal with any impulsiveness, for example, restlessness. Now, Mars, the planet of action, motivation, drive, will enter Leo on April the 18th. Leo is a fixed fire sign ruled by the sun, of course, and Mars in Leo feels much, much better than it feels in Cancer. So here, this is happening in your fourth house of home and family matter. So during this time, you can expect in the 6 to 8 weeks following this, um, the 18th of April, this is when you have a lot of energy to do things at your home, to repair whatever needs to be repaired. It's all about having this increased energy in domestic area of your life, domestic matter. So this could manifest as home renovations or perhaps you could be redecorating your home or gardening, fixing whatever has to be fixed or perhaps needs to be fixed, but you didn't have the motivation, time, energy. Now the time has come to finally get on with it. But at the same time, here, avoid because this energy can also create family disputes or lead to potential family disputes, conflicts. So you feel like things are getting out of control. Perhaps it's time for engaging in some, or perhaps channeling this Martian impulsive energy into a constructive project at your home. Now, Venus and Saturn will conjoin in Pisces at 27 degrees on April the 25th. And this will be in your 11th house. As you can see, there's a lot happening in your area of friendships. And here we've got this blend of energy, desire for connection, but also with the need for stability, boundaries. So perhaps this could be about a new friendship, a new connection, and perhaps you'll be joining a new group. But here you are thinking, you will be looking at it from a long-term perspective. But this could also prompt you to reassess your social circle. Perhaps you might want to commit to a serious professional network or some kind of other networking group where you could spread your wings, where you could thrive, or perhaps meet like minded people. Now, any long term plans, connections that are established around this time will require patience because this is a moment to build slowly, constructively, rather than rush. Now, on this 27th, we've got a new moon in Taurus happening at 7 degrees of Taurus. A powerful time for new beginnings happening in your first house of the self. Here, the moon is exalted, very happy, strong, supportive in Taurus. And Venus is still in Pisces. It's also exalted in Pisces. So here, while Taurus urges patience. This is about taking a slow but consistent approach to whatever that you begin around this time. So try to focus on long-term stability, long-term investment, self-care. This is about building lasting structures in your life here. Taurus is a fixed sign, and generally this could be an opportunity for a personal reset, so to speak, for reinventing yourself in one way or another, for setting intentions, for new goals, objectives. Perhaps you're embarking on a new personal journey of some kind. So think about what do you want to present yourself, or how you want to present yourself to the world. Now we end the month with Venus moving into Aries, and Venus is, of course, your ruler. So here we've got Venus moving into Aries, into your 12th house. And the Venus in Aries is in its detriment, and it means that Venus in Aries in your 12th house, perhaps this could manifest as you may find it difficult to perhaps express your natural qualities, talents, for example, or anything to do with diplomacy and grace, because Venus in Aries can be quite impulsive and sometimes maybe even very competitive as well. So in your 12th house, generally it also brings a more of a reflective flavor essence and perhaps even more, maybe also a hidden quality to love, desires, and you might feel drawn during this time to more privacy, to more secrecy surrounded around your relationships, connections, contracts. Now, this is a time also when you might need time to generally process some emotions or some insights before taking action, before acting on them. This isn't about taking impulsive action, but rather to perhaps go within, think things through, and before taking action. So thank you very much, Taurus or Taurians. Have a great month, and let's have a look at the next sign. Hello, Geminis, and welcome to your April 2025 monthly horoscope. And here, as we begin the month on April the 7th, your ruler, Mercury, will station direct in Pisces at 26 degrees, and that's on the 7th. Mercury in Pisces is both in its detriment and in its fall, so not the strongest placement for Mercury. However, since it is happening in your 10th house, an angular house, traditionally speaking, this also gives Mercury a lot of strength. Now, Mercury in Pisces relies more on intuition than on logic. So, direct motion of Mercury, it might be still slightly difficult to make any logical decisions because perhaps intuition will be much stronger. So take your time before making any important decisions, choices. On the 16th, Mercury will move into Aries, and there will be a major shift of energy at this point. So here, those first 2 weeks of the month, don't rush with any major decisions. Allow space and room for deeper insights to unfold, to gain the clarity, to regain the clarity. You slowly, you will regain the clarity that you may have lacked. But at the same time, with Mercury stationing direct, here, any career-related matters, anything to do with your life direction, your life path, this energy or these areas of life regain momentum. Perhaps even though the clarity will be unfolding gradually, um, things will start to make more sense. And perhaps any ideas that you had during the retrograde phase of Mercury, you might see them from a very different light. But still, make sure you double check any important documents, agreements during this time. There's a strong focus as you begin the month on your area of career, life direction, public life overall. Things are moving forward, but gradually. Right, so on the 13th, we've got a full moon in Libra happening at 23 degrees of Libra, and that's in your fifth house. So here, um, we've got this new moon connects to a much larger story. This new moon connects, this full moon connects to a much larger story, to the new moon solar eclipse in Libra that took place in October 2023. So think about what new projects you began around that time, or perhaps anything to do with a new romance or romantic connection, or anything to do with hobbies, interests, for example, your children. Generally, whatever you started around the time, whatever began in your life here, it might reach its peak during this full moon. Now, Mars will square this full moon, and Mars is in Cancer, where it feels very uncomfortable. So, also be mindful of any impulsive reactions, decisions around this time. There is a greater tendency towards confrontational um, situations with under the influence of these energies. But here, the area of creativity, romance, personal interests is activated. If you have been uncertain about a certain connection in your life or a project, for example, then this full moon will bring a much needed clarity. There could be also a situation connected to your children that will need your attention. And generally, you might feel a very strong need for validation at this time. But here, be careful not to force an outcome. Let the situations unfold naturally, rather, because otherwise, you might attract the wrong people or create unnecessary stress. At the same time, the ruler of this full moon will station direct on the same day. Venus will station direct at 24 degrees of Pisces. Venus in Pisces is feels great. This is the sign of his exaltation. Venus will start to regain its strength, and this will happen in your area of career, public life, life direction. So Venus will restore balance into this area of your life, but at the same time, here, since your career, public life, public image is activated, it will benefit from Venus stationing direct. Generally, from Venus moving direct here in this area of your life. And if any professional matters, for example, anything to do with your worldly achievements as well, have been uncertain, if you felt uncertain about the direction that you're heading, that clarity will return, and also opportunities for moving forward, for growth, for personal development. Now, here with Venus in Pisces being exalted and strong, and generally, this is a time to use your charm, to use diplomacy, especially when during negotiations, especially during some important networking events, because this can bring opportunities. This can also improve your connections, relationships in your outside world, public life, professional life as well. Now, Mercury will move into Aries on April the 16th, and this will change the dynamic as well because here Mercury in Aries is more direct, more straightforward as well, but there's a tendency towards impulsivity or perhaps reckless decision making as well. So you will have to also keep this in mind. But also here with Mercury, being your ruling planet, changing signs. So whenever Mercury changes signs, it also kind of influences your perception of reality, your mindset as well. This will be happening in your 11th house. So you might feel more outspoken in group settings, in your social circle as well. This could also bring a strong need to share your ideas, share your thoughts, to connect with others as well. Now, for some, this could manifest as an opportunity to be a leader, to set up your own group, your own tribe. But here you have to watch out for being too blunt with others, especially when you find yourself in a social situation or leading a group, for example. It's an excellent time for brainstorming, for networking as well, but not for making commitments too quickly. Now, Mars will move into Leo. That's another big event as well because Mars was in Cancer for quite some time. And here with Mars moving into Leo, this is a very different energy. Leo is a fire sign, same as Aries, the sign that Mars rules. So here we've got the third house activated here. So yet again, the area of social interactions, communication. With Mars in the third house, your words become very powerful. You can become a very assertive communicator as well. So a great time for generally for public speaking, for sharing your knowledge, for for teaching, for mentoring, for having these important conversations as well. But here again, with Mars in the third house, Mercury in Aries in the 11th house, you need to also watch out because with this, under the influence of this energy, sometimes you might become too argumentative, too forceful with your opinions on others, especially if someone disagrees with you. So, at the same time, watch out for any conflicts with siblings, neighbors. This could happen, especially if things have already been slightly on the wrong side. Mm, this is it's better to use this energy to learn new skills, to improve your existing skills, to be productive generally with your mind, with your words. So a lot of intellectually stimulating energy here with Mars in Leo in the third house. Watch out when driving because here you might be speeding, driving faster than you realize. Make sure you also display your tickets when parking in places that need a ticket, that need, yeah. All right, so Venus and Saturn will conjoin in Pisces at 27 degrees, and this is happening here in your 10th house. As you can see, lots of here stimulation this month in your area of career, and here we've got this energy generally might really stimulate you to take charge of your life, to take charge of your career, professional life overall, and generally, whatever that you'll be dealing with in your public life, in your outside world, in your career, it will require self-discipline and patience. This is about long-term, um, generally doing something that will of a long-lasting nature. This whatever that you begin, because the conjunction is like a new beginning of this cycle between Venus and Saturn. So this project, idea, connection, whatever it is, that begins under the influence of this energy in your area of public life, outside world, career, will require patience, discipline, but also this is has gotten a potential to be of a long-lasting nature as long as you give it enough energy, effort, structure, discipline. Now we've got a new moon in Taurus happening at 7 degrees on the 27th of April. And this is a very strong full moon because the moon feels very, very strong and happy. It is exalted in the sign of Taurus. And Taurus is a fixed sign. That's your 12th house. A time well, overall, the new moon, this is a time for setting new intentions. But with the 12th house influence, this is also about stepping back, taking a break. It's about reflecting, contemplating. It's a great time for healing, for reinventing yourself with on the inside, for having a break, for taking a rest, for meditating, journaling. Pay attention to your dreams, to your intuition, because they will, or they might at least hold valuable insights, messages. And we end the month with Venus moving into Aries on April the 30th. Venus in Aries is in its detriment, and that's here happening in your 11th house. So this means that Venus in Aries it can struggle to express its natural qualities of charm and grace. Venus in Aries is quite passionate. Well, it's very passionate, but it can be quite impulsive as well. So what this means is that here your friendships are influenced, social circles as well, and this could indicate some new collaborations, new friendships, connections. So it's a good time for networking as well. But at the same time, try to avoid making any impulsive financial decisions, perhaps especially connected to some unrealistic goals or dreams. And it's about making conscious decisions. But Venus here gives you and this amazing opportunity for connecting with like-minded people, with the right crowd, as long as you're conscious of your choices. But this influence will be especially vivid in the month of May. Thank you very much, Geminis. Have a great month, and let's move into the next sign. Hi, Cancers, and welcome to your April 2025 monthly horoscope. So, here we start the month with Mercury, the planet of communication, intellect, short distance travel, stationing direct in Pisces at 26 degrees, and that's your ninth house. So, here we've got Mercury in Pisces in those final degrees for. Um, until the 16th of April, it will remain here in your ninth house. So Mercury in Pisces is in its fall and detriment, meaning that it's not the strongest placement for Mercury. But since Mercury is waking up from a long sleep, this gives Mercury a strength. So it's change of direction, a forward momentum rather than things slowing down, like if it was a planet stationing retrograde. So generally with Mercury in Pisces, our intuition is strong, but it's more difficult to make logical decisions. So here, what this means is that in those initial 2 weeks of April, you will still have to take some time, take your time before making any important decisions, choices. And here, this is about also listen to your intuition and let the things unfold naturally rather than force um, the outcomes. So overall, what this energy could bring. This energy could generally this could indicate a forward momentum when it comes to any legal documents matters. So perhaps if things have been delayed, moving slower. When it comes to any passport, visa applications, for example, things generally should speed up. But at the same time, you might also have some really strong realizations during this time that could emerge out of the blue, connected to your deeper spiritual development, spiritual awakening, perhaps self-growth, self-development related matters, for instance, as well. All right, so that's a really short-lasting influence because Mercury is on its way out from Pisces. But things speed up, move forward. It will be easier to think clearly and to make the right decisions, especially when it comes to your life direction as well, because there could have been a certain degree of confusion in this regard. Now, there is a full moon in Libra on the 13th at 23 degrees of Libra. Now, this full moon connects to the new moon solar eclipse that took place in 2023 in October. So, this is a very powerful full moon. Now, at first glance, it could just appear to be just a regular full moon, but since it connects to a much more powerful story, then here, think about what started in your life during that time, especially in the area of your home, family matters, as well, domestic dynamics, because this full moon could generally indicate a turning point in the area of home, domestic life. But at the same time, Libra is connected to justice, fairness, balance. So any balance at your home or with someone, a family member, for example, will become more apparent, visible. But at the same time, the full moon and now Mercury in a direct motion, Venus also stationing direct, the ruler of this full moon, on the same day, things will become much clearer than before. So, what this could indicate, because Mars is still in Cancer, Cancer and Libra connect by a square. So, there is a certain degree of negative energy or some tension that could spark a potential confrontation, for example. This could also indicate that perhaps some additional time is needed when it comes to implementing the necessary adjustments in certain family relationships at your home. But generally, with this full moon, home family matters come into focus, and you might have to resolve a domestic issue or perhaps address an emotional situation within your household, sorry. So there's this push and pull effect between um, because here with the moon, the full moon is in the fourth house, but the sun is in the 10th house. At the same time, you might feel this push and pull between your public life, your career related responsibilities, but also your private life. And especially where your attention will be truly, truly needed. Now, with Venus stationing direct on the same day in Pisces at 24 degrees, at 24 degrees of Pisces, this also indicates forward momentum and makes this full moon extremely powerful in many, many ways. Venus is exalted in Pisces, very beneficial for improving your connection with others, for healing, for artistic expression. And with Venus stationing direct in your ninth house of foreign travel, education, of personal growth and development, generally this could indicate a certain degree of fulfillment in some of these aspects of your life. If you've been unsure about a big decision you want to make or take connected to your personal life, personal growth, personal development, your life direction, then you will have more clarity. It will be easier to make this decision. And at the same time, it's an amazing time for also for restoring balance in certain connections in your life as well. Now, Mercury will move into Aries, and that's happening on the 16th. And Mercury in Aries, so we're moving from Pisces to Aries. Mercury in Aries is peregrine, it doesn't have any essential dignity, which indicates that you will have to be cautious, especially when making any quick decisions or when engaging in some difficult, complex discussions, negotiations. And that's happening in your 10th house of career, which also gives you a more of a direct approach to how you deal with things on daily basis in your outside public life. But Mercury in Aries can make you very, very ambitious as well. And you might have this really strong urge to speak your mind at work, but you have to be careful because sometimes you might say the wrong thing without thinking it through unintentionally, and this could indicate a certain degree of maybe coming across too forceful or too direct, especially with authority figures, since this is happening in the area of career. But if handled wisely, this transit can really help you assert yourself and take charge of your life. Now, Mars moves into Leo, and that's on the 18th. Leo is a fixed sign ruled by the sun, and it's a fire sign, same as Aries, and Mars rules Aries. So here, Mars in Cancer, it's a very difficult transit. It's difficult for Mars to be its true, courageous, charismatic self. And Mars in Leo is very charismatic, very courageous, and at the same time here, very passionate as well. So this is happening in your second house of finances, self-worth, and Mars in Leo in your second house can make you very ambitious especially when it comes to pursuing some financial goals, objectives as well. And this is a great time for taking charge of your financial area of your life, but you have to watch out for extravagant spending because that's also something that could come out or manifest as a result of this transit. So here, this is about standing firm, especially when it comes to negotiations, when it comes to your spendings, outgoings as well. Now, Venus and Saturn align in Pisces at 27 degrees on April the 23rd. 5th. So we've got a Venus and Saturn conjunction, a brand new cycle. A conjunction is when we start something new. So here we've got this is happening in your ninth house. So as you can see, lots of energy centered around your life direction, your foreign travel, your personal development, growth as well. And this generally is a good time for starting a new course of study, something that can help you to solidify your long-term vision, but at the same time, with under the influence of Saturn, don't expect quick outcomes. Whatever that you start connected, even connected to any careers and coaching or mentoring or anything to do with legal matters, personal growth and development activities. This is about being responsible, and this is about um, planning or creating something that will benefit you in the long term. So here, patience, commitment will pay off without a doubt. All right, so on the 27th, there is a new moon in Taurus happening at 7 degrees. And this full moon in Taurus, here, this is happening in your 11th house. So here, friendships, your long-term goals, hopes, and plans. This is the area that's activated with this transit. So new moons are about new beginnings, a great time for planting new seeds, especially those connected to stability. Personal comfort as well. The moon is exalted in Taurus, so a great nourishing placement for the moon. However, Taurus wants you to be patient because whatever that you begin around this time, connected to your long-term goals and friendships, group involvement, networking, it will take time to flourish. So focus on long-term investments, long-term projects rather than something quick, because it might not satisfy you or fulfill you in the long term. So here, whatever the intentions that you can set overall can be related to your social connections or perhaps networking, long-term plans, long-term goals as well. Now, Venus moves into Aries on the 30th of April. Venus in Aries here, this will be your 10th house, joining also Mars and Neptune. Neptune will be here as well. And Venus in Aries is impulsive and passionate. Venus in Aries overall favors direct action over patience and compromise. And here, this transit influencing your area of outside world, public life, career. During this time, you might experience a lot of attention in your outside world, public life, professional life. This could also mean that Venus could help you to attract new opportunities, maybe financial opportunities as well. But here with Venus in Aries, this is about overall thinking before acting as well, because Venus in Aries with Mercury in Aries as well, this energy can make you impatient. So it's something to do, generally watch out for, because here this can generally help you to avoid any conflict or reckless decisions that you might regret later. But this energy will influence your life mostly in May. Thank you very much. Have a great month, and let's move into the next sign. Hello, Leos, and welcome to your April 2025 monthly horoscope. So, here, as we begin this brand new month, Mercury, the planet of communication, intellect, short distance travel, siblings, community life, is going to station direct. So, it will change direction from the retrograde to the direct motion. And this is happening on the 7th of April at 26 degrees. So here, Mercury in Pisces is both in its detriment and fall, which is not the strongest placement for Mercury, the planet of our mind and mindset. Mercury in Pisces communicates through, not communicates, but generally relies on its intuition rather than logic. So while this shift will bring some relief from recent confusion and delays, Mercury will still remain a little bit weak here in the days following this direct motion, especially since it's still slightly weak, and this can make logical decision making and clarity of thought somewhat challenging. So here, our intuition is likely to be stronger. However, our logical thinking might be still slightly misleading. So this is generally about try to take your time before making any major important decisions. But this is generally happening in your area of the eighth house. So the eighth house deals with shared resources, debts, mortgages, loans. So here with under the influence of these energies, financial agreements, shared resources, but also partnerships, close connections will begin to stabilize, though some details may still be unclear. So try to avoid rushing into any financial decisions, especially between the 1st and the 16th of April here. Take your time to analyze any information, especially before making any major decisions, commitments. Now, here, as we move forward, on the 13th, there is a full moon in Libra happening. At 23 degrees of Libra. Now, with this full moon connects to a much, much larger story. This full moon connects to the new moon solar eclipse that took place back in October 2023. So this is a huge, huge deal because this could be a turning point of whatever that you initiated, started during that time, connected to your area of communication, agreements, contracts. So overall, Libra is the sign connected to justice, fairness, relationships as well. And here Mars is still in Cancer at this time, squaring this full moon. So you have to be mindful of making any impulsive decisions because this is a time overall to make necessary adjustments rather than impulsive decisions. So here, generally, the area of communication, contract, agreement is activated. It may reach its peak. And if you've been in negotiations already, or perhaps if you've been waiting to receive some important news, letter, documents, then this full moon will bring a much needed clarity. However, try to avoid reacting impulsively. This is the time to choose your words wisely because here, if not, then this could lead to potential misunderstandings. Now, another interesting element of this full moon is that Venus will station direct in Pisces on the same day at 24 degrees of Pisces. So here, since Venus is exalted in Pisces, its influence is especially beneficial here to the area of life that is activated. So that's your eighth house, so the area of shared resources, that's deep emotional connections. So here, Venus will potentially bring some improvements, a boost of positive energy. And if you've been involved in some financial agreements, discussions, for example, or perhaps if there has been some issues that may have emerged in your close connections, business or romantic, for example, then it might be easier to reach common ground, or perhaps solutions overall will become more apparent. So overall, Venus stationing direct at the time of this full moon can help you to restore balance and harmony in the important relationships in your life. Now, Mercury will move into Aries on the 16th. And here, Mercury moving into Aries. So that's your ninth house, the area of foreign places, foreign travel, personal growth, personal development. Now, Mercury in Aries is peregrine, which means that it lacks essential dignity. And the way it could manifest as a sharp, direct, assertive style of communication. But here, cautious will be very needed, especially when making quick decisions or engaging in some complicated discussions, for example. But here, with Mercury moving through your ninth house, throughout those final weeks of April, this indicates that your beliefs, your opinions could become much sharper. But you will have to be also careful or mindful, if you will, of coming across as overly opinionated. Now, this transit is great for engaging spontaneously in some adventurous activities connected to personal growth, personal development. But here, think through your plans before acting on them, especially when it comes to booking some spontaneous travels. Now, Mars moves into Leo on the 18th, and Mars in Leo feels much better than in Cancer because Leo is a fire sign, a fixed sign. And Mars in Leo is bold, it's courageous, it's charismatic, and it also brings a lot of emphasis upon self-expression, ambition, leadership as well. So this is happening, of course, in your first house, and you will generally really feel energized, very energized. It can boost your confidence and increase your ambition to act, to take charge of your life. You want to get yourself out there when Mars is transiting your first house, because Mars here transiting your first house will fuel your leadership skills and abilities and personal goals. And but something to watch out for is any impatient tendencies, because this energy is also prone to confrontations as well. So use your strength wisely, because this energy can really help you to move forward with personal goals, and it gives you a lot of energy and strength and courage to take charge of your life, of your destiny. Now, Venus and Saturn will conjoin in Pisces at 27 degrees on the 25th of April in the sign of Pisces, as I mentioned earlier. And that's your eighth house of shared and joint resources, intimate matters as well. So every conjunction between two planets, between two luminaries, this is the beginning of something brand new, a new cycle. So we've got this blend of energies, a desire for connection, a desire for starting something new, artistic, creative, nurturing, nourishing. But at the same time, there is Saturn that wants stability, responsibility, boundaries as well. So here, with the eighth house influence, this could indicate that you might be having some either important conversations connected to debts, partnerships, um, finances as well. Or perhaps this could be about having to make an important decisions. Perhaps this could even be connected to starting a new job as an accountant or in an insurance company. Whatever it is, this is about something that will be of a lasting nature, long-term security. So here you will have to be realistic about your goals, about your obligations, about your financial obligations, because strategic planning, good planning will help you prevent hardship later. All right, so we've got the new moon in Taurus happening on April the 27th at 7 degrees. And this is a time for planting new seeds and in your career area of life. This is happening in your career, outside world, public life. And here the moon is exalted in the sign of Taurus. So it's very nurturing and practical and connected to material well-being as well. So, since Taurus is a fixed earth sign, this lunation is connected to practical new beginnings, but at the same time to slow but steady progress, because this will bring tangible results. So Taurus wants you to be patient, especially whatever that you begin, initiate around this time. Take your time, don't rush, focus on long-term investment, building something that will last. So this is connected to your career goals, objectives, ambitions, something that is connected to strategic moves because these will bring long-term success. So new beginnings, new job, new career, perhaps new career direction more specifically, or perhaps you might be engaging in some professional development courses as well. And perhaps there could be changes at your organization as well taking place that could be generally out of your control, and then you will have to adjust accordingly. But whatever it is, this energy is about being patient without rushing, without expecting things to happen quickly. Because generally, whatever that you begin around this time, whatever that begins around this time overall, it will take time to flourish. Now, we end the month with Venus moving into Aries, and that's happening here on the 30th of April. That's your ninth house of travel, education, belief. So you might feel this really strong urge to embark on in a journey, to book a far-away trip, to take bold risks in your outside world. This could be connected to coaching. This could be connected to healing as well, healing any issues related to self-worth, independence, self-confidence even. So any activities related to personal growth and development will be beneficial for you during this time. But Venus here is in detriment. So for this reason, not the most strongest placement for Venus. Venus can in Aries can be bold, passionate, impulsive, but also very direct. For this reason, you have to be mindful of any tendencies connected to impatience, especially in relationships. It's a great time for breaking out of routine. It's a great time for engaging in learning activities, exploring new places. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. This is connected to fresh energy. So you crave something fresh, fresh experiences, maybe some new connections, or perhaps this could be about going to a workshop or a festival of some sort, or a networking events to meet like-minded people, for example, as well. All right, so this energy will manifest especially in May, as it happens on the very last day of April. Or it begins on the very last day of April. So have a great month. Thank you very much, Leos. And let's move into the next sign. Hello, Virgos, and welcome to your April 2025 monthly horoscope. Now, here, as we begin the month, Mercury, the planet of communication, intellect, and that's also your chart ruler, will station direct in Pisces at 26 degrees on the 7th of April. So we've got this massive forward momentum. Of course, Mercury is a very important planet in your chart. It rules your chart. It rules your area of career, life direction. So here, there is without a doubt a forward momentum happening. A relief from a recent confusion, delays. Now, Mercury will still remain slightly weak in the initial week or so after the retrograde. However, it will regain its strength gradually. Now, Mercury, of course, is in its detriment and its fall in the sign of Pisces, so not the most strongest placement for Mercury intuition. Your intuition is likely to be really, really strong, but perhaps some things might still feel a little bit unclear. So take your time before making any significant decisions here in those initial 2 weeks of April. Now, here with these energies here, Pisces, that's your seventh house. So here you may have experienced relationship confusions, misunderstandings, perhaps some things in your relationship, some unresolved issues came back to the surface, giving you a chance to resolve them. And at the same time, here we've got also perhaps some people from the past may have also re-emerged in your life as well throughout the duration of this retrograde. And here, as Mercury stations direct, you will see that things will start to clear up. But then again, don't expect immediate resolution to any, especially to any misunderstandings in relationships. Things will take a little bit of time, of course. But here, where they're generally romantic or business related, this is about allowing space for um, energies, conversations to develop gradually, naturally as well. And at the same time, you might also gain a new perspective on a partnership, relationship related situation matter. Now, here on the 13th, we've got a full moon in Libra, and this full moon will be at 23 degrees of Libra. So here, that's your second house of finances, income, the financial area of your life overall. Here, generally with Libra energy, Libra is connected to justice, fairness. And here with the moon in Libra here, so Libra is ruled by Venus. Venus is going to station direct on the same day as this full moon occurs. So there's a change of situation, change of dynamic here in the area of income, finances, personal resources as well. But here Venus is exalted in Pisces. So it benefits this area of your life, the financial area of your life. But here Mars will square this full moon. Mars is in Cancer, where it feels uncomfortable. So here, generally, during this time, you might reach a turning point regarding your income, spending, and if there's any imbalance in this area of your life, here it will become very clear, very visible as well. So generally here with the square to Mars or from Mars, be cautious with impulse spending, especially since Venus influence may tempt you to indulge, overindulge, for example. But at the same time, here with Venus stationing direct in Pisces, also on the 13th at 24 degrees. Here, this is when, and that's your seventh house of relationships. Here, generally, this is connected to an easier flow of harmonious energy, especially after a period of stagnation, uncertainty, connected to your area of finances, but also relationships, because that's where this here Venus will be stationing direct. So here, Venus will definitely positively impact your relationship area. It brings a lot of healing, emotional healing energy, helps with any resolutions of any issues that may have emerged in the recent past. But at the same time, generally, if tensions or miscommunications have caused any conflicts throughout the duration of the retrograde, so throughout March, now will be a great time for harmony and balance. So for implementing more harmony and more balanced energy. So generally, your relationship or an important connection in your life overall could take a positive turn following the 13th of April. Now, Mercury, your ruler, will move into Aries on the 16th. And here we've got Mars, Mercury in Aries is peregrine, so it means it doesn't have any essential dignity, and it will be heavily influenced by the energy of Mars as well, because Mars rules Aries, and Mars is about to also move to Leo 2 days after Mercury transitions into Aries. But here, whenever a planet is in a sign where, generally, whenever a planet is peregrine, here, Mercury in Aries is peregrine overall. So it lacks stability. And so you have to be cautious, especially when making quick decisions, when engaging in some challenging, difficult conversations. It's very easy to lose patience and maybe even say something that you will regret later. But overall, Mercury will be in your eighth house throughout the remaining 2 weeks of April. And this will definitely give you a sharp mind, and it will sharpen your focus overall, especially here on financial matters. deep conversations, joint and shared resources. You might overall feel this really strong urge to speak openly about topics that perhaps you would all usually perhaps avoid or delay, but at the same time be mindful of how your words will impact others, especially emotionally speaking. This is also time to be cautious, especially when it takes taking financial risks or making any important hasty investments. I'm not saying you can't do it or you shouldn't do it, but it's about just being mindful of that impatient energy that comes with Mars and Aries combination. Sorry, Mercury and Aries combination. And on the 18th, Mars will move into Leo. Leo is a fixed fire sign and ruled by the Sun. And Mars in Leo feels much more comfortable than in the sign of Cancer. Here, Mars in Leo is gorgeous and charismatic and brings a lot of emphasis upon self expression, ambition, pride as well. So, here, this is happening in your 12th house, and Mars in the 12th house feels best when it's working yeah, independently, but here, independently, perhaps from behind the scenes, but you can really focus your energy with Mars in the 12th house when you work independently. Group or teamwork is can be quite draining if you don't at least have a little break every so often. So at the same time with Mars in the 12th house can slow down your motivation to a certain extent. With Mars in the 12th house, here we tend to repress anger. And at some point, if we don't exercise, if we don't engage in physical activity, take some break and go for a walk, then you might actually explode at some point and lash out. So it's really, really important to generally release the excess of energy that you would have accumulated throughout the day, whether this is an exercise, martial arts. Music is very, very beneficial with the 12th house transits, music, art, journaling, reading as well. So you might also feel a very strong urge or drive to move forward with specific goals, ideas. But the success and achievement comes from strategic action rather than direct confrontation here with the 12th house energies. Now, on the 25th, we've got a Venus and Saturn conjunction in Pisces at 27 degrees. And every conjunction is the beginning of a new cycle. And that's happening in Pisces, that's your seventh house. So as you can see, there is a lot happening this month in the area of relationships, partnerships, and one-to-one connections and unions. So what this means here with Venus being exalted and in a direct motion in Pisces, connecting with Saturn. Saturn in Pisces. So this conjunction blends the desire for connection, but at the same time, you need to proceed with caution. Because especially when it comes to romantic matters, when it comes to relationships, because this energy is about creating something that will last, something of a long-lasting, stable nature. And this could be about a critical moment in your relationship. This could be also connected to a commitment milestone or a test of loyalty, or perhaps a realization of what you truly need from others. Now, here, this could also make your relationship connection stronger, but those connections built on weak foundations may become even weaker. So this will also depend on your circumstances. But here on the 27th, we've got new moon in Taurus happening at 7 degrees. So here we've got we still have that flavor of Venus and Saturn conjunction happening at the time of the new moon in Taurus. And this new moon, it will be in your ninth house. The moon is exalted in Taurus. Taurus is a fixed sign. So this lunation generally um, is about practical new beginnings, slow but steady progress, because this will lead to tangible results. So here with Taurus, Taurus energy, you need to be patient. Taurus doesn't like to be rushed. And what do you start now here in the area of self-development, travel, knowledge? It will take time to flourish, but when it does, it will be very rewarding. So whether you're starting a new course of study, whether you're planning a trip, or whether you're engaging in some new activities that are connected to personal growth, development, or perhaps whether this is connected to some legal matters, legal documents, this is about generally building, creating something of a lasting structure, nature in your life. Yes, so Venus will move into Aries on the 30th, and that's your eighth house. And here with Venus in Aries is in its detriment, which means that it can struggle to express its natural qualities connected to grace and diplomacy. Here, Venus in Aries can be very passionate, impulsive, direct. And generally, Venus in Aries favors direct, straightforward action over patience and compromise. So, what this means is that with Venus in your eighth house, this could be connected to some transformative energies connected to your intimate relationship, to investments, and to how you see and perceive love. But be mindful of any impulsive financial decisions at this time here, because with all the Aries influence, with Mercury here as well, there is a lot of impulsive and impatient energy. So it's something just to be aware of, especially when making any important financial decisions as well. And also pay attention to any dynamics in your relationships that revolve around jealousy or control, because these could also come up. All right, so thank you very much, Virgos. And now let's have a look at Libras. Hello, Libras, and welcome to your April 2025 monthly horoscope. We start with Mercury, the planet of communication, intellect, short distance travel, stationing direct in Pisces at 7 degrees, 26 degrees, and that's on April the 7th. So here, Mercury in Pisces is in its detriment and in its fall. So not the most comfortable placement for Mercury, but when a planet turns from a retrograde motion to direct, this indicates a change of direction, but in a positive sense, forward momentum, things speeding up, a relief generally from a recent confusion, delays as well. It will take a couple of weeks, probably. The first 2 weeks will still be a little bit foggy, and your intuition is likely to be very strong, but sometimes some things might still be unclear. So keep this in mind here, especially until the full moon in Libra on the 13th. But generally here, this is happening in your area of everyday life, everyday routine. And here, this could indicate that you will be implementing some lifestyle changes and changes to your daily life, daily routine. If during the retrograde phase of Mercury, you realize that some things are out of order or they just don't function, or perhaps if you want to, even if it's connected to reorganizing your cupboards in the kitchen or your desk or something like this, then here you will be generally you will realize what's working and what isn't in your life. It's about being more productive and more efficient on a daily basis. But this could also see you implementing some changes, shifts in your diet, in your work and life balance overall. And on the 13th, we've got a very important full moon of this season or quarter, and that's a full moon in Libra in your first house in your sign. So here, Libra, of course, is connected to fairness, justice, and relationships, one-to-one connections, unions. And here we've got the Mars still in Cancer, squaring the energy of Libra. But here we've got this turning point, a turning point, whether in your personal life, in your relationships, you will have to be mindful of making any impulsive decisions here because Mars's influence upon the energy of this full moon may create conflict or some unnecessary and dynamic energy. So here with this full moon generally illuminating your area of the self and at the same time with the sun in your seventh house here, this is also about finding that balance between what you want, your desires, your needs, and the needs and the desires of others. You might be generally, you might feel torn between asserting your needs, your independence, and maintaining harmony with others. So it's a really powerful moment for self-reflection. You might have some really strong realizations around this time. And generally also think about where do you need to prioritize yourself without abandoning your values. At the same time, Venus, your ruler and the ruler of this full moon, will station direct in Pisces on the same day, on the 13th, at 24 degrees of Pisces. So this is happening in your sixth house, right? But since Venus is your chart ruler, rules Libra and this full moon, this also changes the dynamics here as well. So here, whenever a planet, as I said earlier, stations direct from a retrograde motion, this indicates a major change of situation, change of direction. Venus is exalted in Pisces. It's a really great placement for Venus. So this generally indicates an easier flow of energy, more harmonious, more balanced energy after a period of stagnation and uncertainty. So Venus can bring a lot of beneficial energy that can help you to fix what perhaps was out of balance throughout the duration of this retrograde, throughout the month of March. So here, whether this is connected to your everyday life, your daily routine, your health. If you've been feeling overwhelmed, then here, as of the 13th of April, moving forward, you will find ways to generally bring more balance, more beauty into your daily life, into your important connections in your life. So it's a really great time to also focus on self-care, on building more harmony or more harmonious energy in your life, in your daily life, but also in these important connections in your life. All right, so here, as we move forward, Mercury will move into Aries, and that's happening on the 16th. Mercury, the planet of communication, mindset, movement. He will enter Aries, the sign where it is peregrine, which means it doesn't have any essential dignity. And here, this shift brings a sharp, direct, assertive style to your communication, but also it can increase the risk of impulsivity or even conflict at times as well. And here with that peregrine energy, which I just mentioned, this suggests that also you have to be cautious because sometimes you might make very quick decisions without thinking them through. Perhaps you might say something that you will later regret. This is especially relevant since this energy will be activated in your area of one-to-one connections and one-to-one relationships. So generally, you'll be more direct You will likely be more direct when communicating with others on one-to-one basis, maybe even confrontational at times, especially here in your conversations with others. So something to watch out for as well. But overall, here, any issues that have been kind of overlooked as well in your relationship might also come up. Um, to the surface now, but this isn't a good time for generally picking on some little things. Try to avoid unnecessary arguments because here, if this energy is well handled, it can bring a lot of clarity and it can help you to build a much stronger connection bond with your significant other. Now, on the 18th, Mars, the ruler of your seventh house, yet again, will change signs and move into Leo, fixed sign Leo ruled by the sun. So here, Mars in Leo feels much more comfortable in Leo, since Leo is a fire sign, same as Aries, the sign that Mars rules. So here, Mars in Leo is very charismatic and bold and courageous. It brings a lot of enthusiastic, ambitious energy. So this is happening in your area of friendships, one-to-one, well, long-term goals and plans. So this is likely to increase the energy opportunities for group involvement, networking. It's a good time for networking, for working with groups, for engaging in group activities overall. And you might find yourself feeling more assertive in social situations, or perhaps you might take the lead in some group projects, for example. But you will also have to be mindful of how you get your message across, because at this point also Mercury will be in Aries, and soon Venus will move into Aries as well on the 30th as well, still in Pisces at this point. Overall, here's an amazing time to channel this energy into teamwork, into group work, into networking overall. Now, as we move forward, we've got the Venus and Saturn conjunction on the 25th at 27 degrees of Pisces. And here, Venus and Saturn conjunction. So, this is the beginning of a brand new cycle between Venus and Saturn in the sign of Pisces. So, here, Saturn is in its domicile in Pisces, while Venus is in its exaltation, the sign of its exaltation. So, much more comfortable than Saturn. But here, this conjunction brings a strong desire for stability, for setting clear and healthy boundaries. And I think will be very beneficial for you, considering that's your sixth house. So there will be some serious energy in the air, but at the same time, this is about building something of a lasting nature. So perhaps this could be about a new connection between yourself and your work colleague, whether in a romantic sense, whether in a friendship sense, and you will know best how it will work out for you. But it could be related to a connection. This could be related to an activity in your daily life, or a habit, a new routine, or exercise regime, or something that will last, something that you want to commit to. Because here, Saturn is connected to responsibility, and you might experience a sense of duty. And this energy, this sense of duty, responsibility, will overshadow the need for pleasure. So here, if you commit to a self-care routine, or a new job, even a new job, or perhaps this could be about changes in your work environment, or perhaps you'll be learning new skills. Here, whatever the scenario, this energy is connected to structure, and you need to navigate it wisely. On April the 27th, we've got the new moon in Taurus happening at 7 degrees. And the moon is exalted in Taurus, strong and comfortable, nourishing. And here we've got a new moon is about new beginnings. So this is happening in your eighth house of transformation, investments, intimate matters overall. So this is a time to work on financial planning, investments, on healing of any limiting beliefs, anything that holds you back. If you need to settle debts or if you need to work on some financial commitments, then now is also a good time. Just bear in mind, Taurus is a fixed sign. So with Taurus, things don't happen quickly or instantly. Things will take time to flourish. So here, focus on long-term investments. It's about building something that will last, something that will have a form and shape. It's about structure. And at the same time, we still have that flavor of Venus and Saturn conjunction that I've just discussed, that it will be still prominent at the time of this new moon. And we end the month with Venus moving into Aries on April 30th. And that's here, Venus in Aries, that's your seventh house of relationships, one-to-one connections. So this energy brings a lot of passion. Anything out of balance will become more visible and apparent. However, this will also give you an opportunity, a chance for finding resolutions, see what's working and what isn't within your connections, within your important relationships in your life. Venus is in its detriment in Aries, which means that it can struggle to express its natural qualities connected to diplomacy and grace. But at the same, because Venus in Aries can be quite impulsive, even though passionate, but also direct, straightforward. And here, what you might have to pay attention or work on is patience and compromise. But this energy is especially active in the month of May. Here, it's just going to be activated on the very last day of April. So thank you very much, Libras. Have a great month, and let's move into the next sign. Hello, Scorpios, and welcome to your April 2025 horoscope. So, here, as we start this brand new month, Mercury will station direct in the sign of Pisces on the 7th of April at 26 degrees of Pisces. So, we've got this massive forward momentum taking place as we begin the month. Now, Mercury is both in its detriment and in its fall in the sign of Pisces. However, which also means that its position is slightly weak in this sign. Mercury in Pisces makes our intuition very strong, but it's difficult to make rational decisions. So you might want to perhaps take your time before making some important choices, decisions. Give it a week or so until Mercury regains its strength. But overall, when Mercury changes, when a planet generally stations direct from a retrograde motion, it regains its strength. It's like waking up from a long sleep. So here, this is happening in your area of creativity, romance, children, self-expression. So if you experienced any delays throughout March in this area of your life, then here things will start to move forward and speed up. So there is generally a sense of fresh energy coming into play, even though inspiration might still be scattered in the initial few days or so. But here, let your intuition guide you. Let your intuition guide your creative flow. However, don't rush into any new commitments. Still, let Mercury regain its strength. Wait until that major full moon on the 13th, which we will discuss now. So there is this huge, a very important full moon happening on the 13th of April. This full moon connects to the new moon solar eclipse, which took place in around October 2023. So see what you started, what you initiated around that time in the area of subconscious, hidden matters, behind the scenes energy, deep emotional healing, anything to do with spirituality, anything to do with your dreams, working from behind the scenes, which I already said. But overall here, we've got Venus full moon in Libras, of course, Venus rules this full moon. Libra energy is connected to justice, fairness, relationships, and we've got a square from Mars as well. Mars is in Cancer, squaring this full moon. So here you will have to be mindful of any impulsive, overly dynamic energy influences here that could generally increase perhaps the impatient side of your nature essence, or more impulsive side of your nature as well. But generally, here with this lunation being connected to the solar eclipse, full moon here in Libra, this could indicate a turning point in your life. So here, unconscious patterns or perhaps some hidden themes, hidden tensions may come to light at this time. But here, this lunation gives you this amazing opportunity for deep emotional healing. This energy wants you to release any unhealthy energies, attachments, hidden resentments as well. This is about reflecting, spending time in nature, journaling, meditating, taking a break from the outside world, from the mundane reality, withdraw if you can, at least for some time to recharge yourself. But the interesting thing as well is that Venus will station direct on the same day as this full moon is exact. Venus will be stationing direct in Pisces at 24 degrees here on the 13th. Here, Pisces, Venus in Pisces is in its sign of exaltation. So, a very strong placement for Venus here in your area of romance, creativity, pleasure, children. And generally, with Venus can really support any creative projects, your romantic side of life, any projects, goals, ideas, objectives, your connection with your children overall. Venus will bring more clarity along with that full moon energy and also Mercury now in the direct motion. If any creative projects, your business, romantic relationship felt stagnant, then now from this full moon and forward it will regain its momentum. So at the same time, it will be easier to resolve any issues, any dilemmas that may have occurred within your romantic relationship or perhaps with your children. There is an opportunity for a resolution and a fresh start. Now, Mercury will move into Aries on the 16th. So we've got a fresh breath of energy here as well. And even though Mercury in Aries doesn't have any essential dignity, it is peregrine, which also is here you will have to proceed with caution as well, because there's a tendency towards being impulsive with your words, and or perhaps be mindful of having some premature conclusions, for example, because Mars in Aries can be quite direct, assertive as well. But there is a potential for impulsive or reckless decision making. That's your sixth house of daily life, work, efficiency as well. So here, generally, Mercury will speed things up for you in your daily routine. And generally, you will feel like you want to get things done. So, to get things done quickly as well. So, generally, avoid rushing or cutting corners. But this is about being conscious, productive, and you can get on with things easier. You've got the energy, the motivation to reorganize your life, your wardrobes, your cupboards, but at the same time, be careful of how you get your message across, how you communicate with people in your everyday life, coworkers, for example, as well. Now, on the 18th, Mars will enter Leo, and Mars in Leo feels so much better than in Cancer because Leo is a fire sign, same as Aries, and Mars rules Aries. So here with Mars in Leo, this energy favors leadership, creative projects, ideas, and at the same time, here with Mars, your traditional ruler, of course, entering your 10th house where Mars has been retrograde in December. This generally marks a really powerful time for making progress in your career. So career advancements, anything to do with your life direction, outside world, worldly achievements. Mars will help you to stand out, but you will have to be mindful of any potential power struggles with authority figures or perhaps coming across as overconfident in your outside world professional life. So here, try to lead, to go along with wisdom, and without trying to over dominate, a situation, for example. But I'm sure you'll be absolutely fine. All right, so we've got Venus and Saturn conjunction in Pisces, 27 degrees on the 25th of April. And this is happening in your fifth house. So yet again, the fifth house area is activated. Remember, this year we've got the nodes in your 15th and 11th house and the eclipses in September. There will be two eclipses activating both houses. In March, we had one activating the opposing house, the 11th house of friendships, goals, networking, long-term plans. And here this month, the fifth house of creativity, romance, self-expression, children is very much activated. So here, Venus and Saturn combination, this is a brand new cycle for these two planets, or between these two planets, a cycle of disciplined love and structure, responsibility. So this is an opportunity for you to create something of a long-lasting nature. But here it will require some work and effort. Now, it also relates to any romantic relationships which might turn serious or perhaps fade away due to lack of depth. Because if these energies, you don't want anything that's superficial. You crave deep, emotionally fulfilling connections. But at the same time, if you are going to be working on any work-related project, personal project of a creative nature, then it will require some dedication, patience, and delays might be possible as well, but persistence, commitment will pay off. So pay attention to what's happening in your life at the end of the month, because this conjunction also connects to the new moon, which will take place 2 days after on the 27th, the new moon in Taurus. So these brand new beginnings happening in your area of relationships, contracts, new beginnings in partnerships. So whether this is in the romantic side of your life, business, legal, think about what kind of relationships do you want to build around this time. Set clear intentions, because here, Taurus energy is, even though things might be moving slowly, you have this amazing opportunity for creating a stable partnership, connection, for example, and whatever that it is, or perhaps you'll be working with another person on creating something meaningful, and whatever the scenario here, this is an energy that wants you to invest your time and energy. And at the same time here, if you do so, then you can create something lasting in your relationships, contracts, partnerships. So it's really, really beautiful energy, because, of course, the moon is exalted in Taurus. Venus is conjunct Saturn at this time as well, about to move into Aries. But we've got beautiful, beautiful conjunction between Venus and Taurus and this new moon. So this is about an opportunity to create either more stability in your existing relationship. Perhaps you'll be forming a brand new connection relationship in your life, partnerships, a mutual goal. But here it will require some energy and effort in order to see some substantial and long-lasting outcomes and results. We end the month with Venus moving into Aries, into your sixth house. So here, pay attention to overindulgence in sugar, in sugary things, in sweets, in cakes. Very often Venus in the sixth house increases our sugary and sweet cravings. But at the same time, Venus will also highlight what's out of balance in the area of your everyday life, everyday reality. Venus in Aries is very, very passionate, but also very, very direct here. This is Venus placement or sign of detriment. So Venus it's more direct and courageous and passionate as well. So here, generally, Venus in Aries is driven by desire, but it may lack refinement. And for this reason, it's essential to reassess any commitments or any activities that you'll be engaging in during this time when they're in your love life, in the sphere of money, for example. But other than that, it's a great time to channel for channeling this energy, this passionate and direct driven energy into something physical as well, like physical activity, fitness, for example, as well. Now, be careful also of impulsivity in your work, relationships with coworkers, and of course, overindulgence in pleasure, because this will disrupt your um, well, the discipline of the daily life. So if things are out of balance, then there will be a bit of chaos. But thank you very much, Scorpios. Have a great month, and let's have a look at the next sign. Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to your April 2025 monthly horoscope. As we start this brand new month, Mercury, the planet of communication, curiosity, rational thinking, will station direct on the 7th of April at 26 degrees of Pisces. So here, Mercury in Pisces is in its detriment and its fall in Pisces. So it's driven by intuition rather than by logic. So here, any logical decisions try to take some time generally in these initial 2 weeks of April before making any major choices, commitments. Here, you will need more time for thinking things through rather than acting on impulse, and because that will come later in the month when Mercury enters Aries. But other than that, when a planet stations direct from a retrograde motion, this is a forward momentum. So, this is a change of direction, change of dynamics without a doubt. Generally, clarity regarding your home situation, regarding your relationships, connections with others as well. Family related matters will begin to emerge. But of course, some uncertainty will still remain in the initial days following this retrograde. But at the same time, here, take some time to also address any decisions connected to your home, family conflicts, anything to do with your emotional well being as well. Because here, the time that you spend reflecting, generally, reflection will serve you better than taking impulsive actions. Now, moving forward, then we've got a full moon in Libra, a very, very important full moon of April. And the reason for that is because this full moon connects to a much larger story. This full moon connects to the solar eclipse that took place in Libra back in October 2023. So here, when a full moon or a new moon connect to an eclipse, this indicates that it's something really life-changing, very often important, especially if you have any placements at around 23 degrees of Libra. So here, a full moon in Libra is connected to justice, balance, fairness, relationships. It's when a situation reaches its peak. And with the here with this lunation happening in connection to the solar eclipse that took place 18 months prior, as per the gestation lunar cycle, this is a turning point without a doubt. So we also have a square coming from Mars in Cancer. So you have to be mindful of making any impulsive decisions, because here with Mars squaring this full moon, this can influence some dynamic negative energy that could make you act, too quickly without thinking things through. Of course, Libra, this is your area of friendships, groups, group dynamics, and this indicates that there is a shift of energy taking place. So whether you're completely letting go of a certain connection in your life and you're moving on, or perhaps you might be also having some strong realizations about a certain group that you belong to. You might also find yourself reevaluating or reassessing your long term goals and plans. And overall, any conflicting energy that emerges around this time could be because perhaps your ambitions, your dreams, your goals clash with the direction that you're heading. So, or perhaps it clash with the people that you surround yourself with. Or maybe you're not in alignment in terms of your friendships, groups that you belong to. But at the same time, this could be about a brand new connection also appearing in your life. This could be also the case, but this the reason for that is because Venus will station direct also on the same day as this full moon is exact, and this will be on the 13th at 24 degrees of Pisces. So here, Venus will station direct in your fourth house, but also, of course, rules your area of the everyday life and your friendship. So here, Venus in Pisces is exalted, strong, and happy, and it will be very beneficial for your artistic projects, for your for generally for finding more or restoring more balance within the important connections in your life, but also for emotional healing. So here, generally, this is a chance also to reconnect with those, with the people or with the activities, hobbies, interests that bring you joy and that bring positive energy into your life. And with Venus stationing direct in your fourth house, this energy brings harmony and warmth to your home and to your family life. So here, if your domestic life or perhaps things in your everyday life, so your lifestyle or some of your connections in your life have been tense. So if you experience tension in these areas of life or in one of these areas of your life, then as Venus stations direct, Venus will help you to restore peace, to restore comfort. So this is also a great time for redecorating or perhaps for creating more comfort at your home. Now, here on the 16th, Mercury will, a planet of communication, reasoning, short distance travel, will change signs and move into Aries, a sign where it is peregrine, which means that it doesn't have any essential dignity. And this suggests here a terminology from traditional astrology. It generally lacks stability. So here you have to be cautious in how you communicate, in how you make your decisions, how you get your message across as well. Because here with Mars in Aries, so we are shifting into a much sharper, direct, more assertive style of communication. But here, with that in mind, or with this in mind, there is a risk of impulsivity or even conflict. Overall, this is a great time for speaking your mind, whether in a romantic setting or perhaps this could be connected to also presenting your work, expressing your talents, your wisdom, your knowledge through a podcast, through a video, for example. Now, the only thing is that you have to be cautious of acting impulsively. At the same time, here, sometimes with Aries energy being activated in the fifth house, there is also a greater tendency towards gambling on certain projects or ventures. So also keep this in mind. Now, as we move forward, Mars, the planet of action, drive, motivation, enters Leo on the 18th. Leo is a fixed fire sign ruled by the sun. So Cancer was very unhappy because Mars in Cancer was weak. And now we are moving into a position of strength with Mars in Leo. Mars in Leo gives us more courage, more charisma as well, and a greater desire for recognition. And that's your ninth house. So this energy will really push you towards adventure, travel. It's about engaging in activities that can help you to spread your wings. So you might find yourself browsing some holiday destinations, booking flights, which it's absolutely fine because both Venus and Mercury will be in the direct motion. So you might find yourself wanting to fly to a faraway destination, go on a holiday, engage in some fun, adventurous activity. Now, you might also feel the urge to take risks. It's also a good time for engaging in activities connected to self-growth, development as well. Now, Venus and Saturn will conjoin in Pisces at 27 degrees. That's on April 25th. So here, Venus being the planet of beauty and harmony, and Saturn, the planet of discipline, commitment, structure. We've got a conjunction, which is the beginning of this brand new cycle in the sign of Pisces. So that's your fourth house being yet again activated, creating a stronger desire for stability and boundaries as well. You're making some important plans connected to your home, to your family dynamics, whether you are renovating, when you're planning to move, buy, sell. Here with these energies, this is about commitment. This is about following through as well, because it can lead to tangible and long-lasting consequences. This conjunction is also connected to the new moon, a new moon in Taurus, a really powerful new moon happening at 7 degrees in your sixth house of work, health, daily routine. So here, this lunation here, the moon is exalted in Taurus, so strong, and it favors generally growth, nourishment, and the simple pleasures of life. So here we've got these practical new beginnings taking place. It's about slow and steady progress here with Taurus, a fixed sign Taurus, because this can lead to really, really strong and lasting results. So here with Taurus, you have to be patient, because whatever that you begin around this time connected to your lifestyle, to your everyday life, everyday routine, will take some time to flourish. It's a great time for set new intentions connected to wellness, connected to improving your life. Perhaps you're starting a new job. This could be also the case. Perhaps you're learning new skills. Perhaps your routine is changing on your lifestyle. Perhaps you're craving more structure in your daily life. So this will depend on your circumstances. But here on the 30th, Venus will move into Aries. And that's Aries, that's your fifth house of creativity, romance, children, self-expression. Here, Venus in Aries is in its detriment. So this is the sign of its detriment, and what this means that Venus is not the strongest, and it manifests its natural energy, naturally associated energy, which are charm, grace. They are expressed differently when Venus is in Aries. Venus in Aries is very passionate, but it can be also very direct. It can be very impulsive at times as well. So here, generally, Venus favors action, direct action when it's in Aries, rather than patience and compromise. So Venus in Aries can be very competitive as well. And this is happening here in your fifth house. So here with Venus activating this area of your life, this generally can indicate that you'll be engaging in some competitive projects, goals, for example, workshops. Perhaps this could be about feeling very creative and having this strong need to express these urges in some creative way. Perhaps as you're home, renovating, redecorating, or perhaps this could be about a personal project goal idea. There will be more romance in the air. Any imbalance in your parenting style or within your romantic relationship will become more visible, noticeable, giving you a chance to find compromise, to find more harmony. So thank you very much, Sagittarius. Have a great month, and let's have a look at the next sign. Hello, Capricorns, and welcome to your April 2025 monthly horoscope. So here, as we begin this brand new month, we've got Mercury, the planet of communication, rational thinking, curiosity, stationing direct at 26 degrees of Pisces. So there is a forward momentum, and this energy brings a major shift, some well-needed relief from recent confusions and delays that occurred throughout the month of March. Now, Mercury in Pisces is in its detriment and in its the sign of its fall. So still not the strongest placement for Mercury, but when a planet stations direct from a retrograde motion, this is a moment of strength on its own. So generally here, your intuition is likely to be strong and but take your time, definitely take your time before making major decisions, engaging in some major commitments, for example, in the first 2 weeks of April. Now, if you have felt mentally foggy in the recent weeks, or perhaps if you struggled with communication issues, then clarity will certainly return in April. Just be patient because Mercury's direct motion certainly helps, but communication or messages, thoughts may still need time to fully reveal themselves. So double check any important details, especially when signing contracts. Now, on the 13th of April, there's this major full moon in Libra happening at 23 degrees. And this is a big deal because this full moon connects to this solar eclipse that took place in around October 2023. So here, looking at it from the gestation lunar cycle, we are looking at a new moon that occurred 18 months prior and at pretty much the same degree. So that was that solar eclipse. So whenever a solar eclipse or a full moon connects to a solar eclipse, this indicates a major turning point overall. So that's happening in your area of career, life direction, perhaps a professional situation in your life may have reached its turning point, and perhaps it will require some major thinking or decisions, some strategic decision making. So this, whatever the scenario here, this is about fairness. This is about balance. This is about justice. Anything out of balance in your career, in your outside world, will become much more visible around this time. Now, at the same time, Mars is still in Cancer at this point. So here, in those final degrees, in the last decan of Cancer, it will square this full moon. And this can lead to potential impulsive decisions, or perhaps it could generally indicate some unnecessary discussions or arguments. So you have to be mindful of these. But overall, during this time, your public life, your public reputation, your career matters takes center stage. Now, simultaneously, on the same day, Venus, the ruler of this eclipse, will station direct in Pisces at 24 degrees. So the last decan of Pisces. So now, where is Pisces in your chart? Of course, the third house, where Mercury is stationed direct on the 7th of April. Now, Venus in Pisces, it's in its sign of exaltation. So this means that its influence upon this area of your life, the area of communication, social interactions, your mindset, will have an especially beneficial influence upon your interactions with others, your communication style, your thinking process as well. So a really amazing news that Venus will station direct on the same day, because this also indicates that you are moving in perhaps in a slightly different direction to what you thought. This could be about signing major contract, an opportunity suddenly emerging connected to your career profession, for example, or to the direction that you're heading. And if you have been waiting on important documents, information, email, then or perhaps discussions, then this is a great time to speak from the heart, because your words will carry a really magnetic essence charm as well. So think about this, keep this in mind. Now on the 16th, Mercury will enter Aries, and this means that we are moving into a slightly different here territory with Mercury, and that means that's your fourth house of home and family matters. So here, Mercury in Aries is actually peregrine, and this means that Mercury is slightly lost in the sign of Aries. It lacks stability. So here you will have to be perhaps mindful of how you communicate, how you get your message across, especially at your home, especially in the domestic environment, or when we're talking about home and family matters with others. Because Mercury in Aries can make you more direct, more assertive, and more impulsive even as well. So you might find yourself speaking more directly to your relatives, but you'll have to be also careful of any I any unidentified arguments, because this is a great time for making decisions regarding your home, your family life, home improvements, or for planning any home improvements. But think things through before acting, because Mercury can make you very impatient, especially when it comes to making decisions regarding your home and family matters. Now, Mars will enter Leo, and that's on the 18th. Leo is a fire fixed sign. We are moving from the Cancerian water influence, where Mars felt very quite uncomfortable. And we're moving into more courageous, more charismatic energy field for our Martian energy. So here, Mars in Leo can be very expressive, can be very charismatic as well. So here we've got the eighth house. The eighth house, so this energy will intensify your finances. This could be connected to making some important decisions regarding any investments. But at the same time, it's a good time for generally dealing with debts, mortgages, and with Mars here, you become more passionate. So this is also a positive transit for your intimate relationship, but you will have to be mindful of any um, impatient or risky investments. Yeah, so definitely any investments that you'll be making, make sure you're sure about them, because Mars will make you very excited, but also very impatient, and you might get yourself, you might invest your money maybe too quickly or make the wrong decision if you just do it on impulse. Right. So with Mars in the eighth house, it's also a great time for healing, for deep emotional healing, letting go. Now, Venus will align with Saturn on the 25th at 27 degrees of Pisces. So here again, your area of communication, contracts, agreements is activated. And this is generally a time of structure, seriousness, and perhaps this could be about a new contract that you'll be signing, a new agreement, a new connection, a new partnership. This is about something of a long-lasting nature. Whatever commitments begin at this time, they they can be long lasting, but they will require some work and commitment. Because here we are blending very different energy of love, connection, commitment with the energy that wants stability, that pays attention, pays a great attention on boundaries, responsibility. Now, simultaneously, we will also have a new moon happening 2 days after, a new moon in Taurus happening at 7 degrees of Taurus. So here, this alignment between Venus and Saturn also connects to this new moon, because a new moon in Taurus is about stability, security. Taurus is exalted. The moon is exalted in Taurus, so it's strong and it's nourishing, and it's connected to growth. But here with This new moons are about new beginnings, of course. It's happening in your fifth house of creativity and romance, personal joy, personal expression, self-expression, children. So this new moon wants you to prioritize fun, hobbies, passion, especially if you feel like you've been neglecting fun. Then if you have been and if you feel like you have been, then this is a big, big takeaway and a big sign from the universe trying to tell you to start a new hobby, engage in some personal, fun, fulfilling, emotionally fulfilling project. You need this. Um, Here, this is about being practical. With Taurus, it can be a bit slow to start with, but it can be very steady. It can give tangible results. So here, Taurus wants you to be patient because whatever that you start now will take some time to flourish. But once it does flourish, then it can be remarkable. So you're building something lasting, something that will last, like a lasting structure overall. And at the same time, the ruler of this new moon, Venus, will align with Saturn. So there's a lot of Saturnian energy here, of course, connected to structure, connected to stability and long-lasting energy under the fixed energy of Taurus. All right, so we end the month with Venus, the planet of love, harmony, beauty, moving into Aries. And here, Venus in Aries is in its detriment here. So it can struggle to express its um, archetypal qualities. Venus in Aries is is very passionate, but also direct and is sometimes impulsive as well. And generally, Venus in Aries wants action, wants things now, and it prioritizes direct action over patience and compromise. This is happening in your fourth house, which is actually a great transit for um, getting things, for sorting out your home, for beautifying your home, for dealing with any home related arrangements. But at the same time, under the influence of Aries, now Mercury is also in Aries, and you've got Neptune in Aries as well. Tensions can arise at home, especially if you are impatient, especially if your desires at this time are different to the ones of the rest of the household members. So while this transit is amazing for beautifying your home space, your living arrangements, here you will also need to remember about balance, harmony, compromise, if tension arises. So thank you very much, Capricorns. Have a great month, and let's move into the next sign. Hello, Aquarius, and welcome to your April 2025 monthly horoscope. So here, as we begin this brand new month, Mercury, the planet of our mindset, our thinking processes, will station direct in Pisces at 26 degrees on the 7th of April. Now, Mercury in Pisces is both in detriment and in fall here in Pisces. So not the strongest placement for making some big, concrete, rational decisions. There is a relief without a doubt because when a planet stations direct from a retrograde motion, this can generally indicate a big relief when it comes to any confusions, delays that you may have experienced in the recent past. But here, while your intuition will be strong here, try to take your time before making any logical decisions, important choices. Now, at the same time, this is your area of income that's activated. So any financial matters, decisions that have been delayed or perhaps that felt or seemed confusing, they will begin to move forward. So try to avoid rushing with any major decisions. Think it through, take your time, but at the same time, be mindful of where your outgoings are going. Take some time to assess also your financial goals, your long-term financial strategies as well. Now, on the 13th, there is a full moon in Libra happening at 23 degrees of Libra, activating your ninth house of foreign places, foreign travel, your belief system, your life principles, legal matters. Now, this full moon is really important because it connects to a much larger story. It connects to the new moon solar eclipse that took place in Libra back in October 2023. So a really important event here. Of course, solar eclipse brings major shifts in your in your worldviews, in your perspective of reality. Anything to do with legal matters, citizenship, visa applications, or perhaps anything to do with learning, studying. Whatever the scenario, there is this major turning point taking place, a shift in perspective, or perhaps you might have this really strong need to stand up for what you believe in. Now, at the same time, this lunation here with the Libra energy connected to justice, fairness, balance, harmony, is going to be squared by Mars in Cancer. And this energy is could generally lead to perhaps a tendency towards making impulsive decisions, saying something that you might regret later. So keep this in mind. But overall, what I also want to tell you is that Venus will station direct on the same day. So this is essential to point out because Venus is the ruler of this full moon. And the Venus in Pisces feels fantastic. This is the sign of its exaltation. So it will really benefit your area of finances, income as well. This is happening in your second house, but also it will boost any goals, any plans related to learning and anything to do with activities connected to personal growth, personal development as well. But at the same time, this energy will also bring more stability to any financial matters, financial decisions, because here, if money issues, money matters, concerns have been on your mind overall, then here clarity will return by this full moon, especially since Mercury is also going to be direct at this point. Saturn is in a direct motion as well. So it's an amazing time also to treating yourself to something beautiful, something comforting as well. Or perhaps you might want to invest in some quality time. It's quality over quantity with these energies. Now, on the 16th, Mercury enters Aries. So we've got this major shift happening as we move forward in the middle of the month. And here, Mercury in Aries is in its sign of peregrine here, and terminology from traditional astrology, which suggests that it doesn't have any essential dignity. So overall, a planet that is peregrine, it's like it might be kind of wandering aimlessly, lacking stability. So here, generally the way it could manifest, especially since this is happening in your third house of communication, you will have to generally be mindful of how you communicate, how you get your message across. And perhaps you have to be also more patient with those who tends to irritate you. Mercury in Aries can make our communication style, especially if it's with the third house activation, more direct, more sharp, more assertive as well, but also more impulsive. So this is something definitely to watch out for so that you don't get into any conflicting situations. But overall, the positive manifestation of this transit is that Mercury here can make your mind sharp and it can make you more outspoken, more witty as well. And it's a great time for learning. If you want to learn something quickly, then do it when Mercury is in Aries in your third house. It's a great time for networking as well, for expanding your social network within your immediate environment. But be mindful of rushing into decisions or perhaps speaking without thinking. Now, here, the 2 days after this transit, Mars will move into Leo. So here, Mars in Leo. Mars in Leo feels much better than in the sign of Cancer. Mars in Leo is more courageous. Mars in Leo is more charismatic. It brings very different energy overall here in the sign of Leo. There is a strong emphasis on leadership, ambition, self-expression, and this is happening in your seventh house of commitments, partnerships, relationships. So Mars in Leo brings here a lot of passionate and intense energy to your relationships, one-to-one dealings, but at the same time, it can create dynamic chemistry as well. So here with I think there will be quite a lot going on in these one-to-one dealings, relationships, but at the same time, um, with Mars in Leo in your seventh house, um, if you or the other person try to dominate the conversation, then it can create conflict here. Balance is really essential because any over dominance can create conflict. All right, so here, as we move forward, we've got Venus and Saturn conjunction on the 25th and the new moon on the 27th in the sign of Taurus. So here Venus rules Taurus, of course, the Venus and Saturn conjunction in Pisces at 27 degrees activated 2 days prior to this new moon will influence the energy of this new moon. Got lots of earthy influence, which is about slow but steady progress that leads to tangible results, stability, boundaries, responsibility. These are some of the keywords connected to these final days of the month. So if you want to build something of a long-lasting, steady nature, then here, this, especially connected to your home, emotional security, family, here you've got an opportunity for those brand new beginnings that will require patience, but at the same time, they can produce something very meaningful, valuable as well. But it might take time under the influence of Taurus, fixed sign. But the moon feels fantastic here. The moon is exalted in Taurus, which is it promotes growth. It promotes nourishment as well, material stability in many ways. So here with this new moon, it's a great time for setting intentions, for making plans connected to home improvements, for finding more emotional security, stability in the area of home and family matters as well. So a great time for making plans related to your home. But here, the ruler of this new moon is Saturn, is Venus. Venus is still in Pisces, the sign of its exaltation, conjunct Saturn. So this is happening in your area of finances. So here you might be making some major financial decisions connected to your home related improvements at this time. But here, try to avoid unnecessary spending. Rather focus on long-term security, long-term stability. And we end the month with Venus moving into Aries, and that's on the 30th of the month. Venus moving into Aries, the sign of its detriment. So here, not the strongest sign for Venus. Venus here is more direct, more straightforward, less patient, very passionate as well. So here, Venus in Aries can be very competitive as well. And here is all about moderation and a healthy balance overall, because here you will have to be beware of any impatience or impulsivity here under the influence of these energies, especially since this is happening in your third house of communication, rational thinking, and learning, studying, short distance travel. So here with both Mercury, Venus, and also actually Neptune here as well. This is a great time for networking, for writing, blogging, engaging in intellectually stimulating activities, but at the same time, be aware also that your words will carry a lot of meaning, a lot of charm around this time, but sometimes you need to be mindful how you get your message across, how you communicate, because there's a tendency to sometimes come off as too bland or too impulsive at times. But here we go. Thank you very much, Aquarius. I wish you a productive month, and let's move into the next sign. Hello, Pisces, and welcome to your April 2025 monthly horoscope. We start with Mercury, the planet of communication, intellect, travel, short distance travel, stationing direct in Pisces at 26 degrees on April the 7th. Here, Mercury is both in its detriment and in its fall in this sign, so not the most comfortable placement for Mercury. However, here with Mercury stationing direct from a retrograde motion, this is most certainly a moment of strength. So here, the direct motion of Mercury can bring a sense of relief from any delays, confusion, or perhaps lack of clarity that you may have experienced in the recent weeks when Mercury was retrograde. Here, Mercury in Pisces emphasizes intuition rather than logical thinking. So here, until the middle of April, you will have to be cautious when it comes to making decisions based on your logic, but allow some time for new information, more clarity to surface. But here with Mercury moving forward overall in your first house, in your sign, this is when you can express yourself more clearly, more effectively as well, and easily, more easily as well, much easier. At the same time, your intuition will be very, very strong as well, but very, very strong. So this is like a fresh breath of energy. Things become clearer, a forward momentum without a doubt. Now, the energies change significantly when we reach the full moon in Libra happening on the 13th at 23 degrees of Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus, and Libra is connected to matters related to fairness, justice, relationships as well, balance, harmony. Now, at this time, Mars, the energy opposing the energy of Venus, the ruler of Libra, will be in Cancer, and Cancer and Libra connect by a square. So this can create a certain degree of tension, impulsivity in the air as well. So overall, here you will have to also watch out for any tendencies related to impulsive, risky decisions, for example. Now, this is happening in your eighth house, but something really important I wanted to mention as well is that this full moon connects to the new moon solar eclipse in Libra that took place back in October 2023. This is very essential because whenever a new moon or a full moon connect to a larger story, especially an eclipse, and this means that this is a really important, influential, even life-changing at times cycle. Have a look if you have any placements at around 23 degrees of one of the cardinal signs without here cardinal signs. But it's with the eighth house influence as well, which is connected to that financial cycle that we've just we were about to finish with the Aries eclipse happening on the 29th of March. This is generally when a situation regarding finances, investments, debts, maybe even trust or power related issues in your relationship may come to light, will require a fair resolution, will demand clarity. So be mindful in how and where you invest your energy at this time. Something really interesting also connected to this full moon. That's a really important full moon because Venus, the ruler of this full moon, will station direct in Pisces on the same day. So that's really, really interesting because, of course, Pisces, that's your rising sign or sun sign, moon sign, if you're watching for a different for your sun or your moon. So here we've got a turn of direction, right? Here, Venus is turning direction, the ruler of this full moon, and at the same time, Venus is exalted in Pisces, very happy and strong. It will benefit you in a positive sense, which can be very inspiring, very healing as well. And with Venus stationing direct in your sign, you will regain clarity, magnetism, charm, confidence as well. And if you struggled with self-doubt, or perhaps if you are confused about some decisions that you have to make in your life, then clarity will now emerge, especially since this full moon is happening in the area of transformation, regeneration, healing, emotional transformation as well. So this is a really, really powerful time for reinventing yourself, for embracing self-love, for attracting positive energies, relationships, people into your life as well. All right, so here that's a little bit about this full moon. And here on the 16th, Mercury will move into Aries, a sign where it is peregrine. So it's generally a sign where Mercury in Aries may lack a clear sense of direction. It's not its usual self. So with Mercury in Aries, you might become more direct, more straightforward, more impulsive, especially when it comes to your spending habits or financial decisions, for example, since this is happening in your second house. Overall, with Mercury ruling our mind, being the planet connected to our mind, our mindset, our thinking process or processes, this transit suggests that your mind will be focused on finances, on personal values, on material stability as well. So you might be more inclined during this time, those final weeks of April and the beginning of May, to make quick financial moves, quick financial decisions, but try to take some time and think things through before making these major risks or before making these major impulse purchases as well. Especially here, I'm thinking about big investments, big purchases around this time. But overall, it's a great time for budgeting, financial planning, for analyzing your statements, for making generally strategic financial decisions. All right, so those that are thought through as well. Now, on the 18th, we've got Mars moving into Leo. Finally, Mars is leaving Cancer. It's been a very long transit, retrograde and direct. So we've got the planet of action, drive, motivation moving into Leo, where it feels very different, more comfortable than in Cancer. Here, Mars in Leo expresses itself with ambition and a desire for recognition, with courage. And here we've got the area of your sixth house, so expect things to speed up, pick up. It's likely to be a busy time from the 18th of April until throughout May overall. Lots of different activities, but at the same time, boost in your motivation, especially when it comes to your daily life, daily tasks, more energy for exercising, physical activity overall. But at the same time, you might be dealing with different projects. This is also a good time for generally for engaging in physical activity, fitness, gym. Now, since there will be a lot going on in your life, try to avoid a burnout. If your body is telling you, I need a break, then take a break, take some rest. Make sure you drink enough fluids, water as well, with all that fire energy here as well. But generally, this is a good time for for getting things done, for getting things done, and yeah. All right, so then we've got the Venus and Saturn conjunction on the 25th, and also in Pisces in your first house. And then we've got also a new moon on the 27th, which also is related to this conjunction in Pisces. So Venus and Saturn conjunction at 27 degrees of Pisces. So have a look if you have any placements, because this will definitely influence you if there are any nice placements around this degree. This energy. So we've got a blend. A conjunction is about new beginnings, a new chapter, a new phase. So this is a new cycle between Venus and Saturn. With Venus and Saturn conjunction in your first house, you have a greater need for stability, for boundaries as well with some people in your life. Overall, here this energy could remind you about the need for setting clear and healthy boundaries. But here you might be committing to a new goal, project, connection, relationship, partnership, contract that will be of a long-lasting nature. So here with whatever that you commit to, it can be a foundation of something sustainable, something that will take some time to develop under this Saturnian energy. With Saturn, we need to invest some effort, we need to invest some energy, we need to commit. So think about what are you committing to during this new moon in Taurus, something personal to you since it's happening in your first house, your goals, your objectives. But whatever that you commit to, it will require patience, commitment as well, because it might move or grow slowly, but it can produce tangible results. Now, here, it's basically on the 27th, we've got a new moon in Taurus happening at 7 degrees of Taurus. Taurus, that's your third house. So you might be signing a new contract that relates to some new opportunities that could be related to personal growth and personal development with the Venus and Saturn conjunction here. And with the third house activation here, with the new moon in Taurus, Taurus is the moon in Taurus. So the moon in Taurus, so um, the moon is in exaltation here, is what I want to say, in the sign of Taurus. So it's an ideal new moon for setting intentions related to stability, security as well. And the moon in Taurus is very well nourished, happy as well. So it's a great time for setting intention or starting something new that can be steady, connected to steady growth overall as well. So a really powerful energy here, and it's happening in your third house. So whether you're starting a new course of study, whether it's about a new business, or perhaps a networking opportunity, or perhaps whether you are getting involved in some community project, now is generally a time for you to refine your voice. It's about expanding your connections, expanding your network, expanding your knowledge as well. This lunation supports practical new beginnings. And what starts around this time will take time to flourish, but it can be something really special. Now, we end the month with Venus moving into Aries on April the 30th. And here, Venus in Aries is in its detriment. So, Venus in Aries, it's not the strongest placement for Venus. Venus in Aries is more impulsive, more direct, more straightforward, and very passionate as well. But here, Venus in Aries prefers action, direct action, straightforward action over patience and compromise. So it's something to keep in mind. But here, compromise will be necessary in order to avoid conflict or perhaps making reckless decisions. And this is happening in your second house, where also Neptune and Mercury are present. So lots of happening here in this area of your life as well from the middle of the month. And it's a great time for generally here, Venus in Aries can boost your confidence, improve your self-worth as well. But at the same time, this energy can also boost your income, revenue, or generally, if you have your own business, you might have more sales during this time. But here, be mindful of impulsive spending, because with Venus in the second house, sometimes our taste becomes more extravagant, more expensive, and there is a tendency to overspend on things perhaps that we don't truly need. So that's here Venus in Aries in your second house. Venus in Aries can be impatient. So for this reason, perhaps sometimes think twice before you actually get a material object that perhaps you don't really need at this point in your life, especially if your budget is tight. All right, so here we go. Thank you very much, Pisces. I wish you a productive month, and until the next time, bye for now.